A reading from the prophet Jeremiah. The word of the Lord came to me. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I dedicated you. A prophet to the nations, I appointed you. Ah, Lord God, I said, I do not know how to speak. I am too young. But the Lord answered me, do not say I am too young. To whomever I send you, you shall go. Whatever I command you, you shall speak. Do not be afraid of them, for I am with you to deliver you. The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
I'm used to doing this in front of children in classrooms or in youth rooms, so this is a totally new experience and an awesome experience being able to do this in the presence of the Eucharist and everyone here. There are many life issues that we focus on during Respect Life. One big one that we hear about, that we all know about, is abortion. There are many others that we need to remember as well, such as euthanasia, suicide, ignoring life because of quality of life, the death penalty. The list goes on and on. Being pro-life is defending all life and standing up for life. Every person's life all comes back to dignity, caring for one another from moment of conception to the moment of natural death. Looking out and protecting for one another, loving one another. Each one of these life issues that I mentioned allows us to see support or destroy another person's dignity in its own way. For me, the dignity of life, the importance of life, and the gift of life became very clear for me when I became pregnant. The top 3 reasons that I hear people say that it's okay to have an abortion are rape, incest, and health of the mother. And for me personally, I went through 2 of these. On May 17th, 2004, I was drugged with a horse tranquilizer at a party, and I was sexually assaulted. I was absolutely terrified. I remember no one helping me. I remember falling to the floor, and I could see the door in front of me. And I remember people just walking right over me like I was a rug on the floor. I woke up the next day in a large amount of pain, and I was scared, and I was humiliated, and I was ashamed because I knew what had happened. But in my mind, if I acted like it didn't happen, no one else would know it happened, and it wouldn't have to be an issue. So I went home in pain, scared, and I put a smile on my face so that I wouldn't have to tell my parents what had happened, tell anyone else what had happened, and just try to move on without getting the help. It worked for a while. I was a teen choir director at a church in Chandler, so I just kind of put all of my energy, all of my extra time into my work, because if I didn't have time to think about it, it wasn't there. So I continued that for about a month, and then things started changing. I started being tired all the time. I was getting headaches all the time. I wasn't myself, and I'm going through everything in my head thinking, okay, what's wrong, what's going on? And then I remembered, I'm late. So at that point, I knew I had to take a pregnancy test, and I'm thinking, this isn't happening. I'm stressed out, I'm worried. I've been just overcome with everything going on. It's stress, but I'm going to do it anyways. So I went and got a pregnancy test. And in about 2 seconds, the test came back positive. I couldn't breathe. I just remember kind of falling to the floor and thinking, why? I didn't really know what to do. I felt like I was really alone. And then I remembered I'm not alone. I have my family here. I just have to get through this. So at that point, I did have to tell my parents. And I told them what had happened. And the first thing was, why didn't you get help? Why didn't you tell us? And I told them I was scared. I was ashamed. You know, I felt dirty. I just felt like, you know, if I could forget it, it wouldn't be here. So we kind of had to deal with the fact that, okay, this is happening right now. Now what do we do to move forward? And a short time later, I ended up in the hospital, and I was examined by the doctor. I'm diabetic, type 1 diabetic, and I have been for 25 years now. So I had to tell them what had happened, because they asked us, do you want us to let the Father know? And me not thinking said, there is no Father. And they looked at me like, sweetheart, let's talk, you know. So I had to tell them what happened, and we had the police officers come, and they kind of went over everything with us. And, you know, they did the examination. They said, you know, you're permanently damaged from the attack. You're permanently scarred. You may not be able to have children again. Kind of hit me pretty hard at that point, because my whole life I've just, you know, wanted to be either a rock star or a mom. I work at a church, I get to sing at church. I'm definitely not a rock star. So mom is, you know, that's good for me. It still wasn't hitting me though, until they brought in the ultrasound machine. And they put the gel on my stomach, and I saw the heartbeat for the first time. And that hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, this is happening right now. This is what am I going to do? The doctor told me, you're diabetic. Your pregnancy is going to be hard. You've been attacked. You're going to be miserable. You're going to resent this child for the rest of your life. The best bet is to have an abortion. And I looked at him and I said, it's your job to help people, not kill them. So if you have anything else to say it now, or else we're done here. They looked at me like I was nuts, and I got dressed, and we got the papers, and we left. And from then on, it was moving forward and trying to make the best decisions all the way around. So at that point, I'm thinking to myself, I'm living at home with my parents. I'm barely working at the time. I want this baby to have everything that I can't give him. And the selfish part of me was saying, keep him. He'll be like playing house. You know, things will be great. We'll figure it out. Then the reality is, like, this is going to be hard. You're alone. You're not married. What are people going to think of you? These are all the thoughts going through my head. So I just kind of put it on hold, and I kept just going back and forth. Adoption, keep him, what am I going to do? And then my health started getting worse. My blood sugars would drop to the point where I had paramedics at the house once a week, because they would drop so low that I wouldn't be conscious. And I went from being a small, petite girl to a rather large diabetic pregnant woman, so my parents couldn't lift me up anymore to help take care of us. So the paramedics kind of got used to the routine of coming once a week. They knew where my room was. We did our spiel. I woke up, they said, Edel, what are you going to do? Eat food? Okay, see you next week. So we got used to this going, and I'm fighting with myself back and forth the whole time. Do you keep this baby? Do you give it up? What's going on? And this whole time I'm talking to a family who cannot have children. Amazing, amazing family. And I just keep thinking, they can give this baby everything I can. They can do this. I can't do this. What am I going to do? And I was praying really hard and struggling, and then I was at Mass, and I remember just praying, and it was after communion, and I said, God, I need you to tell me what to do. I need something, because I don't know. And then I felt him move for the first time. And I was instantly in love. And I knew that I couldn't do it. And then came the thoughts, am I going to raise a child that came from a man raping me? Am I going to be able to live with that for the rest of my life, looking at this child's face? Can I do this? And I just felt reassured, you can. You can do this, you know? And so I made that decision. And my health just kept getting worse. I was in the hospital a total of 8 times. And about 6 months into the pregnancy, I was diagnosed with placenta previa. So my uterus, the placenta was hanging very low in the uterus, which can cause early labor and bleeding and lots of other complications. So I was told to kind of take it easy, to really take it easy. I don't listen very well. My idea of taking it easy is through masses on Christmas Eve, including midnight mass when I started contracting during the Alleluia. So at that point, I'm like, okay, I gotta calm down. So it was just a few days after Christmas, December 28th, I went to my doctor's office because I had swollen up really big, my legs, my arms. I gained 11 pounds in a week. I couldn't fit into my clothes, I couldn't wear shoes. I was seeing spots in my vision, I couldn't feel my fingers. I knew something wasn't right. And when I went to the doctor, they took one look at me and they said, we need to admit you into the hospital. There's a problem. And so we listened, and thank God the hospital was right across the street from where we were. And I was admitted right away. And I was hooked up to all kinds of monitors. And they had the ultrasound machine going, and they had the heartbeats going so I could hear everything. And I was going into early labor, but I had never been in labor before, so I had no clue what I was feeling. And I was not feeling right to begin with, so I didn't really know what was going on. But they did some blood work, and they came back and said, you have asphyxia. So the weight you're gaining is toxic fluid that is filling in every possible space in your body you can find. And if we don't do a C-section right now, it's going to kill you. So I got angry for a second and thought, I did what I was supposed to do. I did the right thing. Why is this happening right now? And then 2 seconds later, the doctors are telling me, C-section, you got to do this. And I said, can you tell me right now that the baby's going to be okay if you take him? And they said, you are very sick. We can't guarantee anything. And they said, if you can't tell me that he's going to be okay, then you can't. You can't take him. I've lived 20 years, 20 good years, and I'm not going to take away this child's chance at a life to save my own. And then they told me, you realize you will die. My parents were in the room with me. So they're sitting there watching their baby make a decision about her own child. And then I looked at them and said, are you guys ready to take care of this kid if I can't be here? And of course, they said yes. And so we got kind of the paperwork going and everything set up so that if I had to get put on life support, I had to sign off in order to do that, but they were told not to take the child until absolutely necessary when he would be okay. And that evening, I went into congestive heart failure. So my heart was floating in the toxic fluid, and it couldn't beat because it was too compacted in there. And at that point, I'm in la la land. I have no idea what's going on. I should have been in an immense amount of pain, but I have my family there, and we're praying. And I didn't feel any pain. I wasn't scared. I didn't feel like anything was wrong. I just, I was scared for the baby, but I wasn't thinking about myself. And they came in and they said, okay, the same fluid that's filling in all of your area is now where your child is living, and it's going to kill him. So we need to take him. So December 29th, we went in for emergency C-section. Everyone was in the room. We had 7 doctors, including respiratory therapists. Everybody was there. My parents were in the room. And we did the C-section. And he was born at 7.5 months. And he was born 7 pounds, 15 ounces. They said he would have been 12 to 14 if he had gone full term. So I remember they did the C-section, and I saw this thing that looked like a suction cup, and I heard a splash, and I heard the doctor say, oops, and I'm thinking, oops, why oops? And they said, your baby's a little bit bigger than we thought he was going to be, so it made sense when they pulled him out and I saw how big he was, but the thing that scared me is I didn't hear him cry. He was silent, he didn't cry for the first few seconds, and I was just terrified. Why isn't he crying? And after a few minutes, it was this little cry that came out, and I just remember being so relieved. And they brought him over quick enough for me to kiss his forehead. And then my mom took him out to the intensive care unit because he was very, very sick. And at that time, my dad stayed with me because I wasn't in good shape. They had to take care of what was going on with me in my heart. I was sedated for 3 days, and I wasn't able to see my son until I was able to sit in my wheelchair. And on that third day, I got to see him, and he had IVs and feeding tubes and all these breathing masks, everything all over him. And he was both the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, but the saddest thing I'd ever seen at the same time. And I just remember saying, you know, I fought for you, so I need you to fight for me. And he did. He kept fighting. And a month later, he was able to finally come home. And we were both well. But the whole time, I was thinking, you know, thank you. Thank you for this gift that you've given me. Because out of horrible circumstances, I got this amazing gift. And it was through my faith and the love and support of my family that got me through this whole thing. And my little boy saved my life, and he continues to be an amazing blessing to me and everyone he meets every day. And he's made me so happy, and he's changed my life for the better, and he's made me stronger. And I honestly don't think I could ask for anything more than that. There's nothing like the warmth of the summer afternoon, waking to the sunlight, being craved by the moon, kissing mama's face goodnight, building castles in the sand, kissing mama's face goodnight and holding daddy's hand. Thank you, Lord. How could I ask for more? Running barefoot through the grass, a little hide and go seek, being so in love, you lot to me because it tells you in life you'll have struggles and you'll have hurt, but good things will come. My favorite line is, heartaches you go through are often blessings in disguise. And that is so true because I think of my heartache and my blessing in disguise. And that's my little boy. When I think of the woman struggling because she's scared, I look at my son. When I think of people who can't conceive, that want a baby, and they're waiting for someone to say, my child is your gift, I look at my son. When I go to vote, I look at my son. In Deuteronomy it says, this day I call the heavens and the earth as witness against you that I've set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life so that you and your children may live, and that you may love the Lord your God, listen to his voice, and hold fast for him. For the Lord is your life, and he will give you many years in the land he swore to give to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I didn't plan on being a pro-life speaker. It's something that kind of fell on my lap. But if I can help change one person's mind for the better on the importance of life and the dignity of life in any situation, then I know that I've done my part. And now I challenge you to stand up and do yours.